Hi. Didn't see you there. No, I'm doing nothing particularly weird. I'm just getting some wool to scour. You want to follow along? A magnificent beige cloud of probably Flemish sheep, could be Belgian milk sheep as well. We will turn this beige cloud white because the beige is actually all of the lanolin, all of the wool fat, the sheepy fat that is in this wool. Why are we doing this, you might ask? Two reasons. Firstly, actually there has been a demand apparently for a video where I just take you step by step through all the processing things I do with my wool. And secondly, I have been asked to do a wool spinning demo, specifically in a kindergarten. So yeah, we're going to prep some wool so that I can spin this demo, and then I'll just take you along. How does that sound? I hope it does not sound like a tutorial, because this is not, I do not make tutorials, I am not a teacher, I'm just a shenanigans chaos goblin that shows you stuff, right? Right? Now, the first step before we can scour this is to pick out the debris, the VM, the vegetal matter. There could be vegetables in there as well, but I don't think I will find a random courgette in here. What I will find, however, is bits of lavender, because I put it in there. Literally, I put it in there because lavender is said to be moth repellent, and it also just smells nice, and I have plenty of it in my garden. So what we're going to do first is pick out the lavender and all other plants and poop, like over here. The thing with the fleeces that I get is that they are not particularly clean, because the sheep that live here aren't grown for their fleeces. They're either grown for their meat or most commonly as living lawnmowers or as pets. Which means that for the farmer in question, the fleece is like the least important thing of these sheep. First, I'm literally tearing out the bits that have poop on it. I know that there are some ways to get the poop cleaned, but I'm not going to bother because I have fleece aplenty. Can the camera show you what a fine crimp there is on this particular lock? It might not be able to, but it is fine, believe me, it is fine. Do we have another thistle? So much thistles in this particular batch of fleeces. This entire knot. Cannot imagine having a thing like this in my hair. That would be awful. Poor sheepy. So many of these thistles or otherwise, plant that clumps together the wool. I know maybe some of you would never accept a fleece that has this kind of VM and this much VM in it, but I got it for free, so I don't think complaining is in order. I also don't mind just picking it out. It's kind of a mindful, meditative activity, right? And here we have all the larger bits of vegetal matter VM picked out, and then also the lavender. Since the lesson that my friend the kindergarten teacher is all about where does my warm scarf come from, I want to show, here's more VM. I want to show the kids also some of the greasy fleece, greasy wool, have them touch it, have them smell it maybe even. So this part I'm not going to scour. This is also like wool-wise, maybe the not as nice part as this. There are some really nice parts over here, very soft, very crimpy, and those are the parts that I want to spin. And the kids can have fun with this. For scouring, one needs water. Personally, I like to use my rainwater vat for that because, well, why use our drinking water? There is no reason to use drinking water if you have rainwater available. I rather drink from the water. Oh, but not that water. Eee. That's better. Now to scour this fleece, to get the beige looking white, we're going to put on the heat and add some soap. I use this very cheap but also very mild and pH neutral hand soap. pH neutral is kind of important when you want to dye later, because you don't want the pH of your wool to shift and then have influences on your color. Or maybe you do and then you choose a basic, or not basic, alkaline or acidic soap instead. I don't know. This is what I use. You could use specialized scouring soaps as well, but I like using this one. My bottle is also almost empty. Yeah, I might need to get new. And now it can just calmly heat up. Not bringing it to a boil, because boiling, agitation, might felt the wool, and that is not what we want, because we want to spin it, not felt it. So calmly heating it up, not boiling. Our sheep soup has been stewing for quite a while. I would say at least an hour on very medium heat, so no boiling whatsoever, as I said. Now I'm going to empty out all the lanolin water. I'm just going to throw it in my garden. However, I would not advise you to throw it in a part of your garden when you're growing stuff that you will eat. But flowers might like it. As you can see, that is already a lot less beige and a lot more pristine white. Now, there is apparently some little bit of canarying on this fleece, which is some kind of bacteria that makes the wool turn yellow. We cannot wash this out. I also don't really mind it. You don't see it that much when the yarn is spun, I think. Anyway, let's give this a soapless rinse, just to get also the soapy suds out and some of the lanolin that might still be in here. Now for that second bath, I actually have put my fleece in a different tub over here and will first warm the water. Because the water from my rain vat is right now near freezing, I do not dare to put my hand in it. And this is warm, pretty warm. If I would add the warm wool to my almost freezing water, that might give it like temperature shock, which is another thing that makes wool prone to felting. So this can cool down, this can warm up, and when they are approximately the same temperature, they can mingle again. Are you surprised that I'm doing all this stuff by the book? Well, I am. Does your partner also just sometimes run in for a kiss? What a weirdo! We have now skirted and scoured our wool, but before we can continue to the next processes like combing and or carding, it needs to dry. However, it is winter over here in the Northern Hemisphere, so I'm going to give that drying a little nudge with my salad spinner. It is Sunday today, and I have that spinning demo appointment in the kindergarten on Thursday. If I would let this wool dry on its own with these temperatures, yeah, that would be probably still soaking wet on Thursday. And then no spinning for the children of the kindergarten. That would be sad, right? Bucket. Do you see the difference? Like lanolin full beige, free of lanolin, nice, clean and white. Not really dry, but drier. I'm going to spin the rest of these, and I think I will see you when these are dry and we can continue. Or maybe on Thursday morning when I just have to speed through the kindergarten, maybe with like uncombed or uncarded fluffs. That is a possibility, I don't know. I will see you whenever I will see you. My fluffs are completely dry, but since it is also completely dark outside, you will have to do with this completely crappy lighting, but we're going to have to do with it because it is Wednesday night, and tomorrow on Thursday we will show the kids how it is done. Before I can show the kids how it is done, we need to, further prep this wool, and I will do so by carding it on my drum carder. As you can see, or maybe you don't, I have to come closer. I actually did quite a lousy job when skirting and removing the VM. Now, in the first part of skirting, I actually just want to get rid of the biggest bits of VM, like, the thistles and the thorns and everything that is really bothersome. All these small bits of hay will fall out in the consecutive step of carding and fluffing it open before the carding. Now, to make sure that I get a nice, fine, springy, fluffy, bouncy bed, everything that I want, I take small amounts of the wool and first really fluff them open with my hands. A lot of VM will, as I said, fall out, and also this will make it easier on the drum carder. It will not tear apart anything and, make it an altogether more enjoyable experience. I chose carding as a preparation for this fiber because it is rather short in staple length. If it were longer, I might have gone for combing instead. But also I don't have much time, so the drum carder is faster anyway. But like for these shorter staple fibers, my giant is my friend. My giant, by the way, is the 46 TPI, so tines per inch carder by Woolmakers. I chose this one because I mostly work with like medium grade thickness wool. If you want to work primarily with like alpaca or finer micron wool, you might want to get carders with tines that are closer together. I also just like to card rather slowly. For if you card too fast, the fibers might just catch on themselves, flip over, and then you might create naps that weren't there in the first place. And unless you're going for something really chaotic and like an art yarn bat, quote unquote, you don't necessarily want extra naps, right? slowly but surely. So, do you remember that I said that this is probably Flemish sheep or Belgian milk sheep? I think I might have been mistaken, that I might have been bamboozled by my local farmer, and that this is Suffolk. Look at that short staple length. Some of it is really too short to be either Flemish sheep or Belgian milk sheep. This is not the staple length for either of those breeds. It might be the staple length for Suffolk, however, since that is a down breed, which are short staple length breeds with a lot of crimp, and I have said before that the crimp was amazing on this, which is also not really a characteristic for either Flemish sheep or Belgian milk sheep. They get their amazingness more from a silky feeling. So I have been bamboozled and I have bamboozled you all, but this is Suffolk probably. My farmer just has a mixed flock, just shears them one sheep after the other, puts it in a bag, and then says, yeah, probably Flemish sheep. Now, that was one pass on the drum carder. Normally I would do like 2 or 3, but since we are in a time crunch and I have more wool to card than this, I might, just first card the other one and then see how much time that I have, and maybe in the end just leave it at 1. I don't know. We'll see. But right now, let's card the second bat and then make a judgment on whether or not I'm just going to spin it as is tomorrow or go have it through the drum carder once more. Anyway, it is, of course, as it is, I have found out now, Suffolk, the unbelievable squishiest thing ever. Did you just see that transformation? I can ball it up between my 2 hands, and as I have said before, those are hobbit hands, but when I release it, where did all that wool come from? I made the second bat. Actually, I made the second bat and then went through the drum carder a second time just to compare, and yeah, it's kind of a lot neater, so I'm going to have that first bat go through the drum carder again as well. I'll show you how I do that, because that is this video, right? So just as with the first pass of the bat, I'm going to separate it into little chunks and fluff it open a little bit like this, and once again slowly card it. And now we have 2 fluffy, really fluffy bats to spin for the demonstration in the kindergarten. As I said earlier, I will also show them this dirty unscoured fleece, and I have kept a little bit of the scoured yet not carded fleece, so I don't know if 4 to 5-year-olds are actually interested in all of that, but that I can show them different steps, dirty fleece, scoured fleece, carded fleece, yarn. You were my test audience, you were my private kindergarten, and I went from dirty fleece, scoured fleece, carded fluff, but I'll not be going to yarn in this video. Just for privacy reasons of the kindergartners, I will not be taking you with me tomorrow. So this is where this video ends. It is really just a walk with me through all the steps to go from this dirty wool to these fluffy, nice bats. Because it has been requested, and I hope you are all very satisfied now. In any case, if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, you could like, comment or subscribe. But of course, that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, you know, here are some spinning shenanigans if you actually want to see some spinning after this video. Bye!